Do-Rag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earth Date Y2k18.04.11. Just 209 days until the midterms. I wish I wouldn't be rushing my life along. After all, I'm getting ready to go over the edge. Don Corleone is one of three favorite gangsters that I always liked and admired. Two fictional and one real. So I got my Don Corleone shirt on because I'd rather have him be president of the United States if I had a choice between him and the birther bastard. I also liked Tony Montana. Both the original one played by Paul Muni and the second one played by Al Pacino. And they're known as Scarface. That's the fictional Scarfaces. And then the real crazy gangster I liked was Benjamin Siegel, who founded Las Vegas. In any event, they were killers and they were vicious, fictional, reality. And at least they never had an opportunity to reach the highest office of our land. And they are in there now. Real life mobsters, gangsters, the Trumputin family, the oligarch family that this freaking creep wants to join in whole heart. So I want to talk about some suggestions I want to make to the Democratic Party or the Democrats who may be listening, looking at this. Suggestions that I have to run against a platform, to run against Trump in the Y2k18, this midterm, and the Y2k20, which is, that's the presidential election. Now, my first suggestion that I have is that they cannot. Now, let's put it this way. I'm going to use the second person, so it's like I'm talking to the Democratic Party, all right, directly to them. So if I'm using, when I say you, I don't mean you out there watching this. So my first thing I'm going to suggest to the Democratic Party, using the second person, you can't run on impeaching the traitor Trump, folks, because the investigation into his crimes are far from over. I believe that this birther Trump is guilty, but this is a country of laws, and I respect that now more than ever. If you read The Man for All Seasons by Robert Bolt, you have a quote from there said by Sir Thomas More, that if you get rid of the law, you take a scythe, I'm paraphrasing, you cut it all down, and now here you are, and he was a religious man, and you're standing between Satan's there, and the only thing protecting you is this whole field of the law with trees and stalks that went all the way up, and now they're all cut down because now you've broken the law. So Thomas Morse basically says, what do I have now to protect me? But I don't have the law anymore, see? As long as I have the law, I am protected. So I'm just saying, sure, I think this guy's guilty. I knew he was guilty even before they put him in as president. That people stayed home, they didn't vote, and they put this creep in. I knew exactly, I'm not surprised. It's a nightmare. It's an ongoing reality nightmare. I'm watching a real movie in front of me all 24 hours a day. Whoa, I'm just saying. And I'm not whining, I'm not complaining. It's a nightmare. And I'm just I want to find a way to get you folks, you Democrats, out of this mess. And you can't run on impeaching this bastard yet, and you can't do anything to this guy. You can't take him out. You can't hang him up. You can't do any kind of violence to him. You can't execute him. You can't lock him up until he's proven guilty. In our country, a country of laws, beautiful, great laws, to the most part, those are protecting us from dictators like this creep. And it's protecting him from crazies like me. But at least I understand and respect the law. He doesn't. Donald Creep Democrats believes that he's like, I'm here and this government's supposed to serve me. He doesn't, he's an ignorant schmeck. He doesn't understand anything about this. He's not even a good businessman. But that's another problem. He's not experienced. I mean, I believe that most people who run for office, who want to run, should get some kind of degree in law. Something, to know something about the law. Because these are the people who are writing laws or making laws. And I don't want to hear we don't read our laws that we are writing for you. That they said in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, directed by Frank Capra. Oh, what did the Silver Knight say to Mr. Smith? Oh, I hardly understand them myself. A senator, a congressman, a senator or a representative, a president, a vice president, a governor, all these people have to understand the law. Put down lawyers all you want, but when I'm getting operated on, I don't want a garbage man or a teacher, trained in teaching, or a police officer, or a movie actor operating on me. I don't want that. I want someone who knows what they're doing. I'd be crazy. So, I want someone who's running the government, running how we live our only lives, to know what the law is. And this creep, this traitorous creep that we have in our lives right now, does not know anything about the law. Democrats, please, if you're going to run against this creep, if you're going to have a campaign, use the idea, what I've said before, but more importantly, please read New York Magazine's Jonathan Chait's article, which will become a classic in modern day journalism. It's an article entitled, "It's the Corruption, Stupid," and go after what he calls one of the most corrupt administrations in our history. They follow his piece, David Chait's piece, by Trump expert David K. Johnston, who wrote the book It's Worse Than You Think, another disturbing piece. And the piece de resistance, excuse my French, is the extensive list and accounting of every single penny spent at the taxpayers' expense, Democrats, by this gang of pirates. And I commend, by the way, to New York Magazine for their efforts. I firmly believe that this is the main card the Democrats can play against the birther bastard unless Mueller comes up with something better. And believe me, right now, folks, I believe, as the New York Times said in today's editorial, he's going down. The justice is coming to this creep, who's only in there because of all those other factors I've said previously, and I'll repeat another time. But one of the main factors was 50% of us voted for no one. We must go after the corruption. And if you look at the list that they put in this New York Magazine article, it is amazing. And this is a bastard that promised people that he's going to do all this great stuff. He's going to do this for the little person. He's going to do that for the little person. I'm sitting there, I'm filled with rage. And I'm saying to myself, what the hell, what kind of world do I live in? Did I fall asleep and I'm living in some nightmare? This bastard, Donald J. Trumputin, birther bastard, does not give a shit for anyone but himself. Democrats, think of it. Look at that New York Times article and look at the accounting that follows and use it. Use it. They're going to run on, the economy. They're not doing anything for our economy. It's a lie. What he's doing now is going to come back and bite us in the ass or tear us apart or destroy the planet. And that's another thing I got planned for you. I want to talk about radiation sickness with you folks in a future broadcast. Democrats, you must purge yourselves of corporate donors and follow the example of Bernie Sanders. Let the fascist scum grovel for filthy corporate and lobbyist money. You must be free of this corruption and depend only on the people. Only on the people that support you. Maintain, Democrats, a steady left. I personally don't mind if the Democratic Party wants to be more centered, but it must stand for something, and they should always be more progressive of center without being totalitarian about it. Eliminate those goddess damn super delegates. That's something. It's against what democratic is being all about. And by the way, please consider this. Run a woman for president. Either Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, or how about this one? Tammy Duckworth, who just had a baby, and she's a veteran, a combat veteran. But if you must run a male, may I suggest once again Bernie Sanders, Eric Holder, or even, how about this one, Joe Kennedy III. We need young people to be represented. Young people. This is going to be their planet. And finally, Democrats, if you saw the movie The Untouchables by Brian De Palma, there was a character in there played by Sean Connery called Malone. Please follow Malone's advice from The Untouchables, symbolically, of course, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm violent, going to do something violent. Believe me, I feel so angry. But please follow Malone's advice from The Untouchables, Democrats. When those creeps put one of yours and mine in the hospital, put two of theirs in the morgue!